What it do, YouTube? Welcome to John Paul Janitor and Jonathan Summers.
This is
Today,
America. This is America.
that's what it's about. This is America, my dudes.
Get your money, black man. Ah.
So what we gonna do, man? You want to talk about Stormy Daniels?
I don't know much
No.
about the Stormy Daniels thing. Get it kicking, and I'll roll into it.
Um, I don't think there's anything to talk about there. I mean, like,
No.
are we really surprised that a rich man gets to sleep with porn stars? Like, come on
So
now.
this is quite funny, and it's like the left media seems to have Alzheimer's to some degree because
Oh
they
yeah.
forget what happened with the whole sexual issues that Bill Clinton had. Because when he was impeached for this, and it came out that yes, he did get blown in the office, his approval numbers went up.
Oh, that's true. Trump's numbers have been going up.
Yep.
Yeah, but I just don't get the inconsistency, right? Like, what's the big deal? Like, it doesn't follow for me. Like, how can you shit? How can you shit in one hand and say this is morality, and then point at Trump, who you say is not moral? Like, it doesn't follow. Like, you don't care about morality. Like, obviously, you're just like nihilists, essentially.
No, that we have this whole culture built around sexual proclivity, and you're allowed to have any kind of sexual encounter you want. But we have someone doing completely normal heterosexual sex outside of his marriage. This was before his marriage, correct?
I don't remember. Let's just assume it wasn't.
All right, I still don't care. Completely.
I still don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what was the oddity in that? Remember, because they tried to push that angle with the Pissgate dossier.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, there's something to that, right? Like, you're telling me you. I don't know if you finished it, but you started reading Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals.
Yeah, I'm a good ways into it now.
Okay, now I haven't read it, so I'm going to be ignorant and talk out of my ass. And I think one of the rules for radicals is holding your opponent to their own standards. I think I'm paraphrasing that. Is that correct?
Yes, more or less.
So is this just like a case of the left, like, perceiving whatever kind of right-wing people there are out there as though they're somehow like moralistic and believe that people don't cheat on their wives and stuff? Is this like what it is?
Well,
is that
no. So this is one of the incestual talking points of the alt-right and a little bit of the alt-right. Basically, the right-wing movements, how they talk about the SJWs and the left wing, is the fact that they think they're taking talking points and movement ideas out of rules for radicals. If anything, the left isn't using rules for radicals correctly at all. Like, they're using none of the principles. In fact, if each of the little steps talks about how to go about moving through revolutionary ideas, some of them are used.
Oh, that's interesting, right? Because like the left, everybody wants to say the left is so fucking revolutionary, right? And all they do is just keep walking all these goalposts further and further, right? Everything's a slippery slope that they do. But none of the shit they do is revolutionary. Like, they literally rely on being supported and upheld by every part of modern culture.
Yeah.
All of their movements.
If
like,
anything,
it's not a guerrilla, right? It's like not a guerrilla philosophy. You know, it's not on the outskirts of society, right?
Hardly. The only negative tactic they're actually employing that's effective is gaslighting.
Oh yeah, I would say they're doing that, and like they're not even doing that well. Like, realistically, what's sad is like it's really what's scary really is like some of the normie right wing people seem to be gaslighting the left, like Crowder. Crowder sets these people off. Like, you know me, I can't stand Crowder.
No one could stand Crowder.
Dude, I watch a bunch of law enforcement agents that play bingo with sovereign citizen videos. They love Crowder. Okay.
But a bunch of boomer tier 90 IQ smooth brains. Of course, they love Crowder.
Smooth Brains with the license to kill. Okay,
Yeah.
don't get that wrong, bud. But yeah, like Crowder sets them off, and it's funny because like Crowder isn't pushing boundaries at all in any way. Like he literally is holding the envelope and keeping it closed. You know. And they're like yelling at him
All,
for it. Like I don't even know what the hell the thing is with
yeah,
him.
yeah, we're in a new paradigm, bud. We're having to deal with alt-centrist gatekeepers.
Yeah. Like you remember the era of Glenn Beck being a radical, and I know you're gay, and you used to listen to the Blaze or read the Blaze all the time. So
Yep. Well,
yeah.
if you don't recall, I used to walk around in that campaign for.
Oh man, trying hard in politics 101.
In a perpetual state of thinking you're woke.
Yeah. I just
That's
think I'm
where
dumb.
we're at. That's where we're at now. Like we move into all these new political paradigms, theology, and you're like, yes, I have dug down and hit the bottom of the rabbit hole. Yeah, I was a libertarian, or it was some kind of monarchist or anarchist. I was a Satanist, atheist, blah 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 blah. Didn't learn a single goddamn thing from any of those times. And I wonder how many people are at that same spot where they moved through like philosophic ideas and didn't pick up anything, and that's where most of the alt-right sits right now, and that's why it's not going anywhere.
Is it the alt-right that's like not doing anything? Yeah, they're not doing anything.
They're in my book, they are dead. They let the optics cucks burn the system to the ground.
Yeah. They let Nicholas Fuentes, a 19-year-old, like define the movement. I think, right? Like he's now their guy.
He's the only
internet tough guy. No,
he's the only polished turd that they can throw out to the mainstream. The rest are so embroiled in like lawfare that they can't do anything.
Well, lawfare or gay stuff. Yeah, let's not forget. I mean, that's a significant part of the alt-right.
Yeah, because that one piece that was in the news where they were talking about all of Trump supporters are anime watching nerds masturbating in their mom's bedroom basement.
It was so insightful, to be honest. Like,
yeah, you nailed it. Like, okay, you hit the Discord audience perfectly before Discord was even a thing.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Like all the revelation that like you have all of these like Discord people and like these streamers that's talking about how degeneracy's bad and LARPing on all of these like cultural issues while they're all homos themselves, smoking weed.
Pot. That's right.
Smoke pot.
Smoke that weed.
Oh man, degeneracy's so bad, but hold on, I got to do a bong rip in between hitting the mute button.
Oh Jesus, that's pretty rough, dude. I listened.
That's where we're at. You want to talk about postmodernism? Bong smoking Mexican alt-righters.
I like SMG. He's a nice guy.
He seems like a nice feller. Yes.
Yeah. I haven't learned the name Fag Serenity prayer, so I don't know. I don't know how to fully indoctrinate myself into the E-Celeb Anonymous group.
Trying to be a fucking character. You change your name. You change your name regularly. You change your avatar, and you don't be a goddamn person. None of these you don't want to be the Jesus of a movement.
The alt-right won't give up Jesus either, right? You're telling me about this.
No. So. And this goes for any current modern movement. And this was the thing that we were supposed to learn moving past our atheist phase, was that there is no Jesus. And not in a material sense where you're like one of these 90s YouTube atheists LARPing about how there was no material or actual person that was Jesus. We're talking about in the metaphysical sense of how it works now. And it's
Jordan Peterson said, dude.
Yeah, see, that was the thing we were supposed to learn, is that's an old idea. And yes, all those things sounded nice and they seem to work if you're talking about synchronicity, but we have to move past that and use something new. And where we're at now is we have to learn that there is no metaphorical Jesus. And when a movement wants to put a character forward and sacrifice that person, it does no good. What's the perfect example for the alt-right for this? Christopher Cantwell.
Yeah, I really think Cantwell is the dude. To me, I still think Cantwell is the guy. Like, if there's any hope for the alt-right, it's Cantwell. And you know what? He's probably going to end up in prison.
And
I feel bad for him, but
he's not an intellectual of any sort. He's not compelling. He doesn't hold court well for a huge crowd of people and rally the troops. He looks terrible.
yeah, he does. I like him, but yeah, it's the optics thing too, man. I mean, there's something to having good optics, but like you can't put the cart before the horse. Like you can't start arguing about optics when you're literally in a guerrilla warfare situation.
Well,
Like
and
at best, that was the true achievement of the alt-right, nearly entering the political scape on a guerrilla warfare basis.
yes. And who was the Judas of the Cantwell movement? All of the optics cucks. What they should have done is rallied around their monster.
Dude, I totally agree, and like I'm so dumb. Like I actually was like saying for a long time that they should have shut up about Einbacher. In fact, they should have just shoved it in the press's face and say like, yeah, we sleep with our mother-in-laws.
Yeah,
go fuck yourself.
You're sexualizing children. What's your issue?
Yeah, you're literal child abusers.
You're child
Jazz
abusers. You have an issue with one of our guys beating their wife. Get over it. We'll beat you.
He's probably done gay stuff. I mean, you guys can all agree on that, right? Like damn near everybody else has. At least that's a Discord fact thing, right? Like
definitely
doing the gay stuff.
Well, that's one of those things too, because how many of us took the gay pill and had plenty of gay experimentation, and you know what? You have to live with that forever, and that's one of the poisons of modern society. You don't own it, and you don't LARP around like you don't do it or whatever.
It's one of those aesthetics, dude. I don't understand. People can't figure out, right? Everybody LARPs about the one drop rule for Jewish or for black or whatever on the evil neo-Nazi right. But like the gay stuff, like everyone gets a pass. I'm literally looking at homosexual pornography. That's a joke.
Dude, it's okay. It's an anime clip. Totally different, right?
That's totally different. Yeah, it's not 3D, man.
Yeah, my 2D waifu has a dick, but that's all right. It's a cartoon, bud. It's not degenerate.
Of course not.
And, this is one of those sad things, too, that some of the more pure movements and the things that you should have learned from the alt-right, the traditionalism and the evils of modern society, that some of these things you shouldn't take on. Yeah, maybe you've experimented with some of these ideas, and maybe you've incorporated them into some of your identity, but it's like we didn't learn anything from it.
I hope you're right, Codex Machina. I assume that's correct, buddy. I just saw your messages that the alt-right is raising children. Because, yeah, I mean, obviously, that's what you should be doing. But I don't see the personalities. I don't see the internet behavior echoing that sentiment at all. I see this like consistent slide into the land of like moral nihilism. And not even for a factor utility, you know what I mean? Like just like abject moral nihilism. Like, dude, weed, bro. Nah, it was just gay once. Like, no, I'm sorry, it's one drop. And like, I hope you're correct. I hope that they're having kids and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. How do you quantify that, right? Like, how do you get to that point? And like, the other thing is, if that is the case, certainly there's no one pushing that a sort of like beneficial aesthetic other than people I would say that are like really woke and they figured it out, right, man? Like people that are really woke, like they figured it out. Yeah, you have to have a good life, and by having a good life, I mean raise good kids, because that's what having a good life is about.
Oh, great! You've corrected bad behavior in a very small section of the white community. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah,
Totally,
I don't
totally
have a
won.
positive outlook either, to be fair.
No. So the point of all of this is that
We're just
movements
negative.
come and go.
That's the point.
No,
Okay.
this is beyond the black pill. So movements come and go, and like anyone that's wound up in the alt right has had the progression where they came from some extreme portion of the political spectrum. They moved into
Hold on a sec.
They moved into libertarianism, and then they wound up in the alt right. Now the reality is that the alt right isn't the bottom of the rabbit hole. This isn't the end point. So something has to be beyond the bardo. And people have to find this next movement that catapults the group forward.
I don't know if it's necessarily novelty. I just think if only we would learn some of the lessons, right? Like that's really what I feel like. I feel like there's some simple lessons we could have learned, and like my favorite one to always harp on is the message that the alt-right almost got a hold of. They almost got a hold of before they fell into the optics cucking insanity that has really just strung them out for the past year and a half.
Yep.
And I feel like it's aesthetics. I feel like the alt-right, they were kicking around the term. It was a fun term about fash wave and like people getting good haircuts and stuff. But like aesthetics, like that's the value to me. That is the terminology, right? That's the taxonomy of religion. That's the positive side of religion, you know, of cultural groups and identity. Like it's the aesthetic, and that's really the thing that should be uplifted and upheld, right? That's why I always thought it was funny. I always thought it was funny that Joaquin had the Silver Surfer looking guy, right? Because like, yeah, no, that's like legit good aesthetics. It's like a muscular white dude. Like, what more do you want? You know what I mean? Like, what more do you want?
Ultra trad, bud.
Yeah, super tough, man.
No, but so here's another black pill for you for that community. So if you were talking about aesthetics and you look at the left really seemed to gather around the fact that they're going to dress like ninjas. And one of the optics things that the alt-right couldn't get their head around was, are we going to wear polos or khakis, bud?
Yeah, that's totally
like, you're going to have an identitarian movement, but you can't agree on the uniform.
God damn it,
I guess we didn't let individualism go as much as we thought.
I don't know, man.
Or maybe this is one of is this a poison? Is this one of the true poison seeds of collectivism?
Yeah, no, there's something to that. Like the fact that everybody on that center right platform crap that you mentioned earlier, like really wants to harp on like the individual and like really try and nag like collectivist ideas. Like it's really hard to push for like positive aesthetics culturally.
No, so the perfect example of this is played out with these alt centrist gatekeepers. Did you follow any of the Day of Freedom or over there on Cuck Island where they were having like some kind of free speech movement or like protest? Did you follow any of that?
No, were they kicking people out that were?
No, it was an entire rally that had people like Count Dankula and Milo Yiannopoulos up there ranting to like 10,000 people, working class Brit bongs, about how he's wearing a $7,000 watch or some kind of garbage like that.
That's
you didn't
terrible.
See any of this? It was a wonderful bit of Kekistani failure played out in the real world, where you had a famous British tranny singing Shania Twain. The thing was emceed by
Cuck Island. Was that at that rally? Oh my God!
The whole thing was emceed by some kind of sand person that was like calling out how there was such a wide variety of different flags there. Like,
Oh my
like there
God.
was even like pro EU flags or whatever. It's like this was like it was the most diverse group of free thinkers, and of course, still even Antifa showed up.
Oh, we're gonna win by cucking every time.
Yep.
If you love
There was
the other
there was
can't not love you.
all
That's
of
the
the
message of
all of the
peace.
music in it was really weird. It was like there was a tranny, there was some broad that sang some kind of soul, some like white looking, like good looking white lady. She sang a soul song about like inclusion or
Oof,
something.
that's gross.
I couldn't even make it through the whole thing.
That's really gross, dude. All right.
Well,
Well, I got one more thing I want to hit up before we call it. And I listened to the BYR stream,
okay.
Backyard Radio, or Backyard Wrestling, whichever you like. And I listened to it today, and it's like I feel like it's so easy to if you want to really like knock around like Jews and like make like the anti-Semitic position, the JQ position strongly. Most of the time, all you have to do is agree and amplify because they will tell you that everybody knows. Everybody knows. Talking about anybody reasonable would say this. Talking about the JQ is about moral values. Like that's all you
Okay.
want to do, right? If you're gonna have this conversation, you're not gonna intellectually BTFO somebody. That's not the purpose of blood sports or debate, right? What you want is the moral high ground. And a Zionist, a Jewish person will lead themselves to water every single time. Like, so in the discussion,
So let me jump in there with this. Let's give this a little more energy. The point of this is all of these things where people are wanting to put out facts and use these sophisticated arguments on like historical movements and all these things where the Jews have negatively affected society. No, you are going to make moral cases and tell them why they are wrong and you are better.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And it's because you're supposed to use rhetoric. If you're talking to somebody in this type of format, you should be using rhetoric. Like you're gonna bust people on fallacies and stuff like that. Like, of course, but like giving somebody your like fifth grade thesis on why the Jews own TV is not a compelling position for somebody that is literally invested on a moral level for their own in group, right? Like it's not a sufficiently powerful argument. So like talking about the fact that like Jews do bad stuff to Palestinians, like first they're gonna make you qualify that kind of statement, right?
Okay, Abby Martin, thanks.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. She is smoking hot, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But
There's my 3D waifu.
That's it right there.
You're all mouthy and you think Israel is bad. Can we get married?
She BTFOs Harris all the time too. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and you hate Harris too. I'm in love.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny.
But that's the whole point of all of this is that all of these highbrowed and sophisticated tactics that are trying to be used in dialogue. No, you are moving past the goal is to move past dialogue. We are in rhetoric. We are rallying the troops.
Exactly, just like with the Cantwell thing, right? This is why Cantwell should be like, yeah, okay, well, he's not only going to be a hero, he's going to be a damn martyr.
Yep.
But you can't do that. People, for whatever reason, are not capable of. I don't know what it is. Pushing a meme, really.
Yep. I thought the left couldn't meme, bud.
Oh, based. Yeah. So the other thing they're doing on BYR, they're just saying all the stuff like, oh well, in the 20s they had the Zionists had met with the British and talked to them and said this and that. And it's like, what's the Israel guy gonna say? Yeah, they did. I don't see that as a moral bad or a moral wrong. Like, right? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, what's your gotcha? Israel stole nuclear weapons and nuclear technology. Yeah, but they needed it for their survival. What's wrong? You know what I mean? Of course, you have to qualify it and get them to finally walk to that position, which they will, because the Jew at first denies everything.
Here's why using historical parallels to make a point against a group is really stupid, and we should have learned this from Sargon tier videos. Okay, so here's your example of where it doesn't work. White people colonized America, and they took the land from the Indians. Aren't white people bad? Ugh.
I just think it's a matter of tactics, man. It's like it's all we're saying, dude. Is like people don't apply the correct tactics to the situation, and in some cases, there aren't any tactics at all. It's just like a fucking like shitting out of their fucking mouth, like as grotesque as that is. Like you can't just spurg out and say like the Jews are the media, the Jews are communists, the Jews are capitalists. So there, tell me how I'm wrong.
Yes,
It's not only that that's not a Stephen Molyneux qualified argument. It's like rhetorically that's meaningless. Like it doesn't work. Like you get him to walk, get him to walk, and he will go straight to the water hole, and you'll be like, "Look, he's drinking water. I told you guys he's gonna drink water." That's all you got to do, man. You're gonna BTFO him.
Do you want integrity? Because the last time I checked, the universe does not reward integrity.
Yeah, this is.
Or do you want to win?
This is
the idea.
It's like trying to get.
If we're talking tactics, we're talking tactics. You need to use the shittiest tactics in the worst movement possible.
I want to get out of nonsense land because I feel like I'm in nonsense land because I'm dumb. I want to like get this down, like synthesize this and like really get it distilled.
Okay.
So like, I want to give some examples of this stuff when you're talking to like to Israelis or people that are pro-Zionist or whatever. It's not very difficult to get them to say that they had to take land because it was in Israel's interest. Like that should be like part of your debate tactic if you're actually going after Israel for doing untoward things, right? Like that should be like a thing you want to move them towards. Like getting an Israeli to like agree that was unethical or not moral, you're not going to do that. But what you are going to get is an Israel to justify any sort of behavior of Israel, and solely on a moral premise. Like you'll get them to the moral premise every time. And that's a BTFO. That's the type of thing you should shoot for. So instead of like making this like absurdist claim that like, and I say absurdist because it's not ever going to be rhetorically strong enough to be like a BTFO to say that like, oh, Israel got the U.S. into all these wars in the Middle East. Yes, that's true. I totally agree with you. But you're not going to get an Israeli to say that because an Israeli is immediately going to say, oh, no, I'm pretty sure the U.S. went to war because of 9/11. And they're going to say that, and then you're going to have to walk through it step by step, right? That's not really sufficient, like especially in the context of like a blood sports or whatever.
So what you're talking about is dirty framing. The whole thing has to be framed around a moral presupposition that you created.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yes,
give it to me.
And what the big brain person hears when they hear that is they go, "Oh, that's not nice. You're not supposed to do that. That's not intellectually sound." Of course not. That's the point.
Yeah. And it's just, dude, there's this white phosphorus thing, right? Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay, it's a chemical that they.
Well, I know what white phosphorus is. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a type of smoke or whatever, like a smoke bomb that uses white phosphorus, right? So
Okay.
Israel employs this as well as white phosphorus rounds, and people like Abby Martin, who we brought up earlier, have documented like Israel using white phosphorus over and over and over. But what you'll find when you argue with like an Israeli or Zionist or something like that is they'll say like, well, of course there's white phosphorus. They use these smoke grenades with white phosphorus. even though there's like literal like RT videos and stuff of Palestinians with like, oh look, they were shot with a white phosphorus bullet. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a Palestinian that shot them, but you know what I mean? Like this is the tactics that you're dealing with. And you should know that you're dealing with this type of tactic where they'll make you qualify every part of that. So they'll make you walk down that entire tree of things while denying it, right?
So perfect example of this, if we're taking the moral pathway, because it's obviously a winning one, because your brain wants to react to a emotional plea before some kind of dumb fact idea. So with the moral one of these things I learned from listening to one of Abby Martin's things, or I think it was one of her little documentaries, is over there, a popular t-shirt that people wear. It's 1 shot, 2 kills, and it has a bullseye over a Muslim woman that's pregnant. And this is worn pretty commonly in Israel.
Wow.
Now, don't get me started on any kind of emotional ties to Islam, but still, that's not the point.
No, of course it's not the point. The point is to make the other person look bad. It's not about winning some sort of intellectual competition. It's about you look bad. Hey, why do Israelis wear this shirt? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they wear that shirt because they want to kill Muslims. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, I thought killing people was bad, right?
They want to kill Muslims. It's because they think Muslims have too many kids. Which is it? You know what I mean? Like, they always play games. You know they're going to play games. So you don't make like noxious, like long grandstanding positions against them. You just use little rhetorical devices to make the case. Like let's look at the denial of the USS Liberty being an intentional event, right?
Okay. I'm already against using that because the historical piece. But anyways.
That's a good point.
Still might have some value. Continue.
I've heard Halsey many times say that officially it is regarded as a mistake or an accident. An accident, according to both the U.S. and Israel. And so you don't have to argue with Halsey and prove to Halsey that the USS Liberty is an accident or is not an accident. What you should do is you should point out the fact that, hey, look what happened with the USS Liberty. Let Halsey say officially that was an accident. Like, Halsey, you really think it was an accident that they attacked an American ship for as long as they did? And then Halsey's going to be like, accidents happen. You're like, seems like a pretty big accident, Halsey. Are you sure?
Dig your heels in.
You look like a bad guy no matter what. That's all that matters. That's how you win. You don't win by making some complicated case and like pointing to like some esoteric quote, right? And citing some stupid source that no one cares about, no one else has read. You're never going to win that way. That's stupid.
Thoroughly agree.
Yep.
If you're having to use sources in the first place, you've already failed. Halsey's a good example of this. If we're going down the path of argumentation, especially directed towards pro-Zionist people. So you look at the debate between Halsey and Mike Enoch, and I think it was the second one, and it was Mike Enoch when he was really starting to get into the swing of the blood sports thing. He goes on there. Too? I don't know, but whatever the case, it was the last one with Mike Enoch, and it's the point. Okay. It's the last one with Mike Enoch, because he goes on there, and the whole thing is supposed to be geared towards the JQ or some kind of like nonsense like that.
Yeah,
and what does Halsey do?
Damn esoteric.
Yeah, what does Halsey do? Halsey goes straight for the jugular and starts asking him questions about his wife that he's in litigation with that he can't even talk about legally. And just sticks
and
there.
Good guy, white racist Mike Enoch can't even respond. He is stunned by the level of uncouth, bad behavior by a duplicitous, Halsey.
Yep.
It's like all he had to do is literally yell at him, and he would have won.
And it was set in such a way, and this was such an ugly one too, that you don't really see Mike Enoch on the blood sports things anymore. Because he knows how to control it. He knows how to not siege post. he could go on there and have debates just the same as any of these other people and do quite well.
Yeah, and he had up till then because he hadn't gone up against anybody that had a bad behavior, really.
He's funny. He's pretty damn smart. Are we still here?
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I think it says
right,
we're still alive. We're still
right.
good.
Keep small brain in this. We're gonna hit this with a full 180 IQ combined.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, like all these stupid positions, like you don't need to big brain this shit. Like all you need is a can of Bud Ice and a rock to hit yourself in the head. And then when someone says something you don't agree with, call them a butthole.
Yep.
I mean, that's it. Like I talked to Diogenes, dude. I talked to him on Discord and I told him like, you have to limit what you say and make easy claims. Like I told Diogenes, like, don't say the Jews control everything. That is a really huge proposition.
Let's take one of our things we learned from our atheist days, because we have to remember things that we learned from different movements.
Yeah,
that's not falsifiable.
Exactly, dude. Let's say that like the Jews are overrepresented. My example is the Supreme Court. There you go. What's Halsey gonna? You know what I mean? Like you don't have to make things more complicated and tough on yourself. But I know I get all invested in everything because I'm dumb, and I try and make a big deal about everything. You know, like I see a cop pull somebody over because they were driving the speed limit, and I'm like, oh man, these motherfucking cops.
No, but so like another tactic that's worth pointing out, because so the retort that someone would turn one of those arguments around. It's like, what? So you have an issue with overrepresentation? Do you think we need to have diversity quotas? Well, that's the moment that you turn the ship into the storm, turn the bow into the storm, and you say, no, just for that. I don't want any of those people in that. Don't take some moral position at that point. They're wrong and you're right.
Well, it's like, oh, okay, so you think only diversity quotas would get, Jewish overrepresentation under control?
Yeah.
So you do agree that there's Jewish overrepresentation?
Even more clever.
Right. I mean, that's the point. If you want to do this gotcha bullshit, like that's absolutely the point. That's what kills me. And I lined it up for Diogenes when he went to debate Halsey. And I said, like, dude, just make simple claims like that, like Jews are overrepresented. Because I've seen Halsey do this. People have said this to him, and Halsey's first response is, "They're absolutely not. That's ridiculous." And then they give an example, and then Halsey says that's not true. And then they give another example, and Halsey says that is true, and that's true because of this, and there's a reason. And then so you say, okay, so Jews are overrepresented. You agree with me? No one ever does that. No one ever says, "Oh, you agreed to my statement, my term that you told me wasn't true."
No, bud. I see that you reframe the argument. I agree with you now, even though that's against my position.
Yeah. Instead, they keep chasing it, right? They'll keep chasing him on something different because he will instinctively disagree, and I've seen him do it over and over. He'll disagree as a matter of point, like on anything someone says to him about Jewish overrepresentation. They'll prove Jewish overrepresentation, and he immediately moves it on, kicks the goalpost, and then everybody just follows him. It's like, okay, we'll go here next. It's like, oh, dude, just call him on it every single time. That's all you have to do.
And you know what? And if you're in that situation where it's went ugly, you take the Mike Tyson. If you're on the ropes, you bite his ear and you do the ad hominem red herring. Oh yeah, well you're ugly and your background's stupid.
Yeah. Oh well, Jews are just so smart, and that's because they own all of the 23andMe genetic testing places. So yeah, and they've actually admitted that they mess with the results just to make people more sympathetic to diversity. So we should trust them because why? Like, You know what I mean? Like there's never a
Just
point where you should
nonsense.
behave fairly. You know, that's the problem. It's the fair behavior, man.
Small falsifiable claims followed up with nonsense.
Yep, it's easy, man.
Moral grandstanding when appropriate.
Mm-hmm. The tactics
See,
of being a butthole, like for effect,
so
like that's what you should do if you're going to do these types of things.
let's take an important recent debate. Not any of these second tier YouTube people. So when
Hey,
Ezra Klein,
I love BYR in their current iteration.
I don't know. You shouldn't use Discord, so I have mixed feelings. But anyways,
Yeah, that's true. Jeff is
you
master
look at the
race.
recent debate with Ezra Klein and Sam Harris. And
Okay.
Sam Harris was in the position where Ezra Klein is talking shit about him on Twitter and basically making all these felonious statements about how he's a racist and blah, 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 blah. And you know Sam Harris isn't a damn racist. And what does he go on there and do? He has a debate with him, and Sam Harris keeps trying to frame it that he's not a racist, blah, blah, blah. I'm so enlightened. And Ezra Klein sets it up, well, if you agree with these mean things that Douglas Murray said, well, then you're a racist. He's like, well, fine. And you know what? Ezra Klein won the debate against Sam Harris because Sam Harris kept letting him cede moral ground where he's like, yeah, I guess I do agree with these things. And if I'm following your framing of the argument, you're right.
It's almost worse than that though, right? Like
it's pathetic. Like it was pathetic to see someone as smart as Sam Harris,
yeah,
let himself be walked into that many pitfalls in a debate against someone who had totally slandered him. That's what you get for trying to hold on to integrity. This guy was being a butthole. He should have just had him on his, you know what Sam Harris should have had him on? Should have had him on his show, had the debate, and just called him disgusting the whole time. I hate you. You slandered me. You're a slanderer. Your publication is stupid. No one should read your publication because you're stupid.
This is the problem with all of this principle shit. Everybody has these principles that they fucking hold up in the face of being, objectively wrong. Like they're not correct, demonstratively, and they still hold up that principle as though it's sufficient. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm too far afield for how little my brain is here, but like holding on to principles is just not something that we should be like fixated on right now. And it's funny because like a lot of the streams and the shit posting and stuff has really proven that, right? With the just sort of the destruction of the liberalists and the centrist right. Like they've gone up against people and they're like, oh, okay, well you have standards. See how stupid your standards are. And I mean, that's really been like the extent of the fucking of the conversation. Yep. I don't know how you missed that, you know?
So
my Google Hangouts is acting really stupid. Erotically.
Yeah, and we pushed the extent of our 90 IQs combined, so we're barely at room temperature talking about this nonsense.
Yeah, my low brain score is really impeding the direction of this conversation. Anyway, I think Stormy Daniels is the height of ethics in politics right now, and Robert Mueller, I wish him the best of luck. Let's have some accelerationism.
Accelerationism now. Mueller.
Yep.
Morals are dumb.
Morals are dumb. Principles are stupid. Agree. Everything's stupid and retarded. Have some kind of day. We'll see you. I'm John Paul. Yep.